And welcome in, ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between to another episode of the High Low Sports Podcast. It is a pleasure to have you all join us here on this Wednesday evening, or if it happens to be one of your a later day in the week when you are listening to your favorite sports podcast. We got a lot to talk about in the world of sports today as we are midway through October. It is DJ joined as always, well, almost always, who is now back this week. My co-host Kelcey, as we get ready to dive into the world of basketball as we are less than a week away from opening tip-off of another NBA season.
Yeah, feels like a long time since I saw basketball on TV, even though it's been on for the last 3 weeks. But it's been one of those times where I'm just like, all right, cool, I'm ready for basketball season now. Don't get me wrong, love football season, but it's time. It's time to have the NBA back.
It's time to have a little bit of overlap. It's time to get things to go hand in hand with each other. But that means what we're going to do today is we're going to do our full NBA predictions. Not quite the NFL. We're not predicting all 82 games now. We're not going to go that far into it. We only have about an hour and some change. But we're going to basically skip ahead to the playoffs. We're going to show our playoff brackets 1 through 8 on each side and go through our playoff runs. We went to the NBA Cup and the play-in tournaments. We're showing you the results of the play-in, basically, is what we're going with. We're going to each go through our entire brackets from pillar to post, break it down, and give you the end result. So I'm going to go ahead and lead the way for us on this one as we get into the show. Let's go and start with how I have things shaken out. As you can see, West and East unintentionally, but on purpose, the West side and the East side here. We'll start with the West. Number 1 seed, I'm giving it to the San Antonio Spurs. I think Wembanyama returning healthy, Dylan Harper in the draft, De'Aaron Fox, the trade that we didn't really get to see fully accumulate with him and Wemby. Wemby's so good they can't determine if he's 7'3", 7'5", or 7'7", and I think he's getting ready to take the league by storm this year. They're a young team and a healthy team and a good team. Those are usually the results of a team that ends up with a number 1 seed. Number 2, we got the Thunder. Everything I just said about the Spurs apply to the Thunder, but throw on a ring and some pedigree to it. Reigning MVP, everything to go with that. Won't spend too much time on the Thunder. Nuggets at 3rd because they are the Denver Nuggets. Another one very simple. Number 4, the Rockets. They were number 2 last year, and they couldn't score a bucket in the half court to save their life. Now you get Kevin Durant, the ultimate bucket in the half court, to add to that rotation. You still have Amen Thompson, Şengün. They're going to have the biggest starting 5 in the NBA. Like, pillar to post, they're literally going to have 5 power forwards and centers, basically, is what it's going to look like. They're going to be a menace to deal with. Number 5, the Timberwolves. I don't love that they lost Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I still think they'll be fine, though. Anthony Edwards is still that guy. Rudy Gobert is still just giant and gets rebounds and gets in the way sometimes for other people's shots. The Lakers is the tough one because if they were fully healthy, I think I'd probably put them at about the 3 or 4 seed. With skinny Luka, I like the DeAndre Ayton pickup a lot. I think he's going to have a lot of fun with him. If they were getting 85% of LeBron James last year, I think I'd have them that high too. Both him being injured, and I'm not sure if you're getting that LeBron or if you're getting La Hennessy. If that's what they're getting, I'm going to put them at about the 7, 8 seed. So I'm going to split the difference. Just put them there. I think skinny Luke and DeAndre Ayton can guarantee you the 6th spot at least. Number 7, the Warriors, because you can never count them out. Like, literally can never count them out as long as Steph, Kerr, and Draymond are around, plus Jimmy Butler. Then AC, we got the Clippers. So that's what I have for the West. We'll jump over to the East. Number 1, I'm going to put the Orlando Magic there. Desmond Bane gives them something they needed in spades last year. They needed shooting, they needed spacing, they needed ball handling, and they needed biceps. And he gives you all of those and a whole lot more. Paulo Banchero, Franz Wagner. I think they finally have the ability to score some points. I don't think losing Cole Anthony is going to hurt that much. Jalen Suggs and Mo Wagner coming back later in the season off the injuries, I think we'll give them that nice little bolt down the stretch to get them that 1 seed. The East is ravaged by injuries, specifically to the Achilles across teams. So I think it's going to be very wide open down the stretch, and the Magic could take that. Number 2, the Knicks, because they're not injured. Their Achilles are so far fully intact. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, pretty much the exact same team as last year. I think they'll be able to run it back basically the same. Number 3, I got the Cavs. Starting 5 is still probably the best starting 5 in the East, arguably right now, as far as when they're healthy. I like Lonzo Ball coming off the bench a lot. I think that's going to be a nice little boost, much more than Ty Jerome, who was an absolute bucket until they needed him to get a bucket in the playoffs. Number 4, the Pistons. I don't love losing Malik Beasley and some of those guys, but I like some of the other things added. Cade Cunningham's awesome. He's a blossoming superstar, future first-team All-NBA player. I think they're like one really good addition away from taking over the East, it feels like, with Cade Cunningham. They just haven't quite got that piece yet, so we're going to put him at 4. Number 5, we got the Bucks because everyone's injured and they still got Giannis Antetokounmpo, the best player in the Eastern Conference. Miles Turner's a 7'1" 3-point shooter, basically a more athletic Brook Lopez for him. it's basically Giannis and the boys. And I trust Giannis to give them the 5th seed just from that alone, I think, because he is that good. Number 6, we got the Hawks. I like some of the moves they made in the offseason. Trae Young, I still have some holes. He could still kind of get exploited. Kristaps, if he could stay healthy, like there's some upside there. And the East is really, at this point, it's kind of a crapshoot. So, and I think the Hawks have the best potential to do something if everyone can stay healthy. At 7, we got the Heat because in the similar vein of the Warriors, you just can't ever fully count them out with Eric Spoelstra, Tyler Hero, Mr. Asia Wilson, and crew. I think they can always just find a way. Then at 8, I still think the Celtics find a way to get in. I think it's be ugly. They're gonna have to go through the play-in. Jaylen Brown's still good enough to get you there. They did obviously no more Drew Holiday, no more Kristaps, no more Al Horford. Like everything else around him is shaken up. I think Joe Mazzulla, Jaylen Brown, they'll find a way to. Maybe they'll be the 10 seed and they'll actually go through the play and all the way to get the 8 seed. I don't know how they'll do it, but they'll find a way to kind of squeak in. So here's what we're looking at as far as who is making the playoffs before I run through it. Kelcey, anything that has you rolling your eyes or anything that has you want? I know your Kings just signed Russell Westbrook, but I couldn't quite find a spot for him.
Yeah, no, I'm fine without that. That's fine. No, I worry about the Spurs as the 1 seed there, and it's not that they're not good enough. I just worry about Wemby coming back from the blood clots. Yes, he looks good, but game shape after coming back for something so severe. I mean, look, we lost one of the great power forwards in the game because of blood clots in Chris Bosh, and it is what it is. It damages careers. It deters you from using your body and your limbs the same way, and Wemby is a guy who relies on his length. And I worry that there are times that he might be unable to go, kind of a Kawhi-esque situation. So a 1 seed seems a little out of reach because I don't know if he's going to play all 82 games or even 74. But I don't hate the Spurs option. I think fully healthy, that team can come through. And yeah, I believe they could be a 1 seed. But I think it feels a little too soon. Give me next year. I'm happy with them all being a 1 seed. I love De'Aaron. I think they're going to be great going forward. It's just a matter of right now, Wemby, is he actually going to be good coming back? I don't know.
Chris Bosh, he was the man. He was awesome. He was a man amongst boys. Do you know what Wemby is, though?
A boy amongst men?
No, he is an alien. And that is why I think he will find a way to come back. He will find a way to come back through this. Everything he has said, it sounds like he's locked in. So I agree with you. If it is something that ends up affecting him, then obviously all bets are off here. But I'm putting all the chips on that he's able to play like the 74 games, etc. So I'm going for the overly optimistic. But I agree with you. If he only plays 50 games, this is well out the window. Like, just scrap this immediately. But either way,
it's one of those things. Like, I have no doubt that if he's fully healthy, the Spurs can be that good. But that's not something to play with. Like, blood clots is not something to play with. That's up there with the top 5 things to happen to a player and completely ruin their future athletic career. And so that's where it's like you got to be worried about that a little bit thinking about the Spurs.
The Dame Lillard thing from last year still throws me off how he also had clots, but then was able to come back for the playoffs. And then it was literally his Achilles ended up being his Achilles heel. Like, out of all the things that pulled him out of there too. It definitely don't want to mess with it, but we're going to presume, and I'm going to knock on wood that everything goes forward. So we'll move on to the next round of the bracket. I have the Spurs beating the Clippers pretty comfortably. I have the Rockets beating the Wolves, a very contested series. I think it's going to be Ant Edwards and Katie are going to be talking ridiculous trash like it's Twitter, but cranked up to 11. It's going to be hilarious, but I think the Rockets just have a little bit more power. Nuggets get by the Lakers, even if it's whether it's Hennessy or LeBron, skinny Luka, slightly chunkier Luka, whatever it is. I think the Nuggets I like what they did in this offseason. I think they have a really good squad around Jokic. Thunder by the Warriors because it is the Thunders and it's the 2025 Warriors. Not much they're said there. Magic, they get by the Celtics. Bucks get by the Pistons. Very close, very competitive, very 7-game series. Cade and Giannis basically go head-to-head, and Giannis says, hold on, young buck, not quite yet. It still runs through Athens, Greece for a little bit longer. Not Athens, Georgia, my goodness. You don't run there because you don't know who's driving around there. Next up, I got the Cavs getting by the Hawks because I still think the Cavs are awesome. Then I have the Knicks getting by the Heat because the Heat just are outmatched in this one. But we'll then get on to the next round because not too many surprises there. Next up, though, I do think this is where the Spurs youth will come in. I do think this is where that sprint throughout the regular season hurts. The Rockets will get by them. Kevin Durant, significant playoff experience. Ime Udoka, significant experience. That defense, Amen Thompson, though. Şengün, Steven Adams, they have bodies that throw it. Wembanyama, make it a little uncomfortable. They'll get – it's just a different level. Nuggets get by the Thunder. They were Aaron Gordon torn hamstring away, arguably, from getting by them last year, and I think they will find a way this time. I really like what the Nuggets have done in the offseason. I think even losing Michael Porter Jr., getting Cameron Johnson back in return, I think they got a really, really nice squad. I think they're around Jokic. They're more or less built to beat the Thunder this time around, as opposed to maybe the last time around. And then to the East, Magic get by the Bucks because, frankly, the Bucks is literally just Giannis, please save us, and eventually that will run out. Maybe Miles Turner can turn back the clock all the way back to when he's at Texas and give you like a 25-10 series, but we'll have to wait and see there. Then the Cavs get by the Knicks because I do think the Cavs have one of the better starting fives in the NBA, especially in the East. I think they'll find a way to get by the Knicks, who probably have the second best starting five, honestly. Like, this one should just no bench play allowed in this one. But I think the bench will be the difference with Lonzo Ball and crew getting it done for the Cavs, which will now take us to the semifinals. And heading into the NBA Finals, we will have an unintentional battle of 3 seeds. I think the Cavs, with their experience, with their firepower, they will get by the Magic. I think Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Darius Garland, all those guys are going to be a little bit too much for that young upstart Magic team. In a similar vein of the Spurs, they're going to run out of gas. Then the Nuggets, I like what the Rockets did, but that's a different animal in Nikola Jokic. That Jamal Murray, I think, is, if he's able to stay healthy, which by all intents and purposes it looks like he will be, they're going to come sprinting out. Bruce Brown is back. Christian Brown's taken off. There's a lot to like about them, which I think will get them to the NBA Finals, where so we'll have Evan Mobley taking on Jokic, an absolute battle down in the paint. It's going to go to the Denver Nuggets, though. I think, unfortunately, it is the Jokic timeline we are in. He is collecting his Infinity Stones so he can go back to his horses. He just needs to, once he gets that enough rings, he will run back and never be heard from again. I think this is where, of course, Jokic will get the MVP. Jamal Murray will average like 25. He'll be awesome as well. I love Cameron Johnson taking it, filling in for Michael Porter Jr., who I know he is injured, but down the stretch was very unreliable for them, just needing to catch and shoot threes. He's an elite three-point shooter, but they didn't see it when they needed it. Cameron Johnson will give him that. Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench. I really like the Nuggets squad. I think they're really, really good, and I think Jokic is going to find a way to kind of separate himself for this era. I think this is his coming out party, if you will. This is his, I'm here, I'm jumping past Giannis, I'm jumping past Kevin Durant, I'm jumping into that top 10 category. I'm entering Steph and LeBron territory. So this is how I have the next NBA season playing out, with the Denver Nuggets once again hoisting an NBA championship.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I can see a path. That specific path, I can see it. A little surprised that you have the Thunder sneaking by. I do like the additions of Cam Johnson for the Nuggets. I just don't know if that's enough to get. Well, I think there's a few other additions that maybe could be enough, but I think fully healthy, the Thunder are still a better team, and now they're a year older and they've had championship experience. So that's maybe the one matchup I look at there that I'm like, maybe not. I don't hate the Magic on the other side getting as far as they do. I do like where the Magic team is. Maybe not as much as you, but I do like what they're building there. I don't know if Desmond Bane is still that answer. I still think Cole Anthony would have been a great addition along with somebody like Desmond Bane, but yeah, all right, you'll take it if you can get it. It's not like they don't still have Jalen or anything, so they got some options there. But I don't trust Franz Wagner. Is a big thing, so I don't blame you for not letting them get past the Cavs, who have a Jared Allen down low. And I do think that's a situation where I think the Magic also naive on the other side, so that's why you got the Cavs getting by them. I don't hate the matchup, though. If it's Cavs-Nuggets matchup, I would probably also lean the Nuggets, but I don't have that same matchup. But I don't hate what you have, and Jokic is just, look, give that man some horses he can go back home to, and he'll play like you said, Thanos. He'll play like something we've never seen before.
I will say, based on how the rest of it plays out, I think whoever wins that Nuggets Thunder matchup is going to be the one that goes to the finals too. Because I think they both can get by the Rockets. Weirdly, it's just a weird set of matchups across these things, where I think the Thunder and the Cavs, I might even favor the Cavs a touch, just a bit, just the way they match up and line across each other. Rockets, Cavs, I might favor the Rockets, but I favor the Nuggets. So it's a very interesting matchup when you're looking at like those top 3 or 4 teams across how they match up. The Thunder and the Nuggets, I feel it's going 7. Like last year it went 7, and Michael Porter Jr. couldn't lift his arm, and Aaron Gordon tore his leg, even though he had a game-winning dunk in Game 4. Then by Game 7 he couldn't walk. I think it's going to be nip and tuck. So I think if this series ends up happening here with Thunder and Nuggets, the winner I think will go on to the finals, and it'll just kind of depend on who they play. But it feels like the winner of that one's winning the title. How I have it playing out too. But we got a chance to look at my bracket. Now, Kelcey, we're going to take a look at yours, and we got some differences. Where they are similar, they are very, very much different. So we will let you take it away with how you have it, how yours has played out.
Yeah, you know what? Reigning champions until otherwise proven, they are going to be my number one seed on the West. It's just as simple as it is. Number two, I have the Nuggets. So I still think they're going to be really good. And I have them at number two. Number three, I have the Timberwolves. Again, Anthony Edwards is, I've admitted my wrong before. And it wasn't that I was wrong at the time. I just held on to it for a little too long. Anthony Edwards is that dude, and if they trade Rudy Gobert, I actually believe they could be better. But for now, a 3 seed with Rudy Gobert on the team, I could live with. 4 seed, I have the Lakers. Yeah, like you said, skinny Luca. DeAndre Hunter being an addition there, I think is a huge piece. I don't think it matters which LeBron is there with that team they have built. Obviously, you do want LeBron, and you don't want anything else. But yeah, you could live with 40-plus-year-old LeBron if you have to, because there's enough talent on that team. Luka by himself is a fantastic player. Austin Reeves, let's not forget about him still. DeAndre Hunter. That team is a stud. I think they're like one of the longest, if not the longest, starting five outside of the Rockets. I think that's like where they're looking at, where that team is just like Rui Hachimura is playing a 4-5, and that dude is a huge wingspan as well. So crazy situation with Lakers, but yeah, give me a 4 seed for them. 5 seed Rockets, who they match up with. Everything you said about the Rockets, adding KD, it's no brainer for me. 6 seed Mavs. I think Cooper Flag with the addition of Kyrie and if we get a fully healthy Anthony Davis again, I think this Mavs team is kind of a scary team because no matter what people did to Cooper Flag in college, he would still get to his spot, still get his shot, still get his buckets. If he can do that in the NBA, which obviously hopefully healthy with his ankle roll, but if he can do that and if you can get a fully healthy Anthony Davis, that takes some pressure off AD, that takes some pressure off Kyrie. I think this team has the opportunity to sneak in before the play-in game, which is a huge piece for them. 7 Warriors, as you said, they're the Warriors. Until proven otherwise, they're going to continue to make the playoffs because that's just what they do. And at the 8th seed, I also have the Clippers because somebody's got to go there, right? And it's not the Kings. Somebody's got to win the play-in for the 8th seed, and it looks like it's the Clippers. So we'll see. On the East side, I'm actually rolling with the Tyrese Halliburton-less Pacers. I could give a lot of reasons why, but look, I think just simply put, they are still one of the fastest paced teams in the NBA in regular season. That matters. You shoot threes, you get rebounds, and you shoot more threes. That's all you got to do if you're the Pacers. They're an interesting team. Obviously, with the loss of Miles Turner does play a part, and I'm not like giving that a bit part here, but I don't think it's as impactful as a lot of fans might think. And I think the Pacers, as an organization, have proven time and time again they can do it, whether or not they have their stars healthy. And here's the crazy thought is if they get to the playoffs, Tyrese Halliburton could have played the last week leading up to the season to be ready for the playoffs. Potentially even earlier. So, crazy thought. That's my long shot here out of all of these picks. That's easily my long shot. So, flame me in the comments if you want. I don't care. 2 seed, give me the Cavs. Everything you said about the Cavs. Yeah, Lonzo Ball edition. Still got Donovan Mitchell. That team looks good. At the 3 seed, the Knicks, as you said, fully healthy. Somebody's got to go here, right? 4 seed, Jaylen Brown, I still think is that good. Yes, the loss of Drew Holiday pains me to no end. I don't think the loss of Al Horford is as bad. But the loss of Drew Holiday, love watching Drew play. But, okay, so be it. Jaylen, go prove that you can be that dude. Go prove that you're worth that contract. That's what this is. If he can do that, then when Jason does come back, that changes this entire team's output going forward, and that makes it that much scarier. And as you said, I think coaching, front office, this team knows how to do it. So it's a no-brainer. They're going to be in the playoffs. It's just a matter of where. So I have them at the 4 seed. 5 seed, Kate Cunningham and crew. The Pistons are a really good team, and anybody who sleeps on them, good luck. Is where I'm going to leave it at. And the 6 seed, Magic. Like I said, I like everything you said for the Magic. I don't love them as much as you do for the Magic. Actually, a lot of pundits have the Magic up there in the top 2-3 seeds. So I don't love them as much, and that's just because I don't trust Desmond Bane as much as everybody else. I don't trust Franz Wagner as well. I watched Mo Wagner play. I don't need to watch Franz Wagner do the same things, except for he's a little more athletic. It's not as fun to watch. Yes, is he a good NBA player? Sure. Is he a great NBA player? Let's not get carried away. Also, a lack of a real true center, I think, is a problem for them. Like, Franz is their center, and he's not a true center. And I think he's a weird in between stretch four back in the early 2000s type of player. The 7 seed, I have the Bucks. Like you said, Giannis is just going to be that guy carrying them there. And the 8 seed, the Heat, because you can't forget the Heat at all, because I did last year. So, never fails. All right, thoughts?
We'll start with that Lakers Rockets matchup as a doozy. You got DeAndre Ayton taking on Şengün, Steven Adams, and just all the buys they're going to throw at them too. Luka, how's he going to run the rim, and how healthy is LeBron? I'm excited to see that one. And how's Austin Reeves get loose? Because we saw sometimes, even as that third option while he's really good, sometimes he can, I don't want to say get clamped up because that's a little unfair, but he had some of those moments in those physical games. Ime is going to say, go fight that guy. Milk check. They're going to go after him. The Mavs are interesting because if Kyrie was healthy going into the season, I think I could see them making it. That's why I didn't have him, is I'm worried about that. Plus Anthony Davis, as your boy Charles Barkley calls him, street clothes. I need to see him out there a little more consistently. If you get him and Kyrie out there consistently, that's a playoff team. Then you throw in Cooper Flag, who can, I don't say be the third option, but there's not as much pressure on that 18, 19-year-old kid to carry. But I do think, like you said, everything is there if it's all there. I agree that if it's there, it's there. My worry is it going to be there? We're using all three different theirs here. They are there, all of them and above. On the East, we have pretty much the same thing. We just shuffle them around, which is how I think the East really is. The Pacers, they're either going to make you look really smart or they're going to make me look really smart. One of us is going to look smart and one of us is going to look dumb because I think they're going to miss Tyrese Halliburton a ton. And if they are able to cover it up, like you said, they could be that one seed that can be all. Rick Carlisle should be coach of the year, which we'll talk awards later if this happens. We'll talk about it later, but I'll let you get on through your rounds too.
Yeah. So moving into the next round, Thunder getting past the Clippers, no problem. I have the Rockets getting past the Lakers because, as you mentioned, Austin Reeves is my concern, as it was last playoffs as well. He gets lost in the sauce, and he can be outmatched and out-game planned by another team, and you already know the Rockets are going to out-game plan. I mentioned they are long as can be. Well, that comes into play here. Down at the 3-6 matchup, I have the Wolves matchup. And by the way, just throwing this out here, maybe I just put a Texas team here at the 6 seed, Mavs/Spurs. It's probably one of the two. But yeah, I have the Wolves getting past Anthony Edwards. Enough said. And the 2-7 matchup, Nuggets, easy. I, again, don't feel like I need to really explain that one too much. Just Jokic. So
yeah, good luck, Draymond.
Yeah. On the other side, I do have the Pacers getting past the Heat because why not? 1 seed versus 8. Just if there's going to be an 8 seed upset, it's going to be the Heat upsetting somebody because that's what Spoelstra does. That's what that team
done it
does.
before, so yeah.
Yeah. On the 4-5 matchup, that's probably my biggest upset here, other than the other 4-5 matchup. So there you go, Pistons. Although some people might call that an upset, I don't know, but not to me. I have the Pistons getting past. Cade Cunningham's still a stud. Don't sleep on that team. Knicks Magic, I have the Knicks getting past, and Cavs Bucks. Give me the Cavs because fully healthy.
Yeah.
That's like the story of the East feels like it's fully healthy versus not fully healthy in every case. The only case difference is just the Pacers. I think Carlisle is that good of a coach, but I don't know if he's that good of a coach. Like if he's going to be coach of the year, good. So we'll see. But moving to the next round, I have the Thunder taking on the Wolves. Thunder getting past the Rockets. Again, that team is just so good. Hard to think that the Rockets can keep up with them with how young and talented the Thunder are. And Chet is like the third option, and he's a fantastic third option because, again, like you mentioned with Cooper Flag, potentially having the pressure taken off of him, Chet Holmgren has the pressure taken off him offensively, so he can play defense and potentially be Defensive Player of the Year. Spoiler alert, it's not my pick. But he could be. And then on the other side, the Wolves versus Nuggets. This is like one of those matchups we just love to watch in the playoffs because you know it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. And if they trade Rudy Gobert and they get a better quality center, I don't believe the Nuggets run away with this series. I think the Wolves have enough to get there. And that's what I'm operating all of these picks on is the Wolves will be finally smart and trade Rudy Gobert at some point in time in the season. That's all I need. So yeah, I'm getting past the Nuggets. I think Jokic is fantastic. I think Cam Johnson addition is great. I think Tim Hardaway is great. But I don't trust Jamal Murray in the playoffs at all. Unless he's going up to the Lakers, then he's going to give you 40 plus every single night. So that's what I say on that. On the flip side, Pistons. That's my upset over the Pacers. Pacers, they finally decide to lose because Tyrese Halliburton is not there. So tough to match up with Cade Cunningham when you have TJ McConnell guarding him. that's where I think the big loss is in that rotation, those matchups. So, yeah, that's where I have the Pistons getting forward. And then Knicks, Cavs, I have the Cavs advancing because, again, I think the Cavs are just a much better team, top to bottom. And you add in the 6-7, as you mentioned, it should be a starters only matchup. But if we add in the benches, then Lonzo gets put in there. I trust my 6-man off the bench there, Lonzo, to do at least enough. At the very least, I get to see some fun-looking three-pointers. That's all I care about. So, yeah, moving into the semis, I have the Wolves taking on the Pistons. So, not a 1-1 matchup or a 1-2 matchup like maybe people thought. I trust Anthony Edwards right now. I'm going to roll with that. And again, if they trade Rudy Gobert, I highly believe this is the case. He's such a drag on them offensively, and Anthony Edwards is not able to operate in the paint as well as I think he could still. Give the man a chance. Trade Rudy Gobert. That's all I ask. This is my prediction will come to fruition if you just trade Rudy Gobert. That's all I ask. And the Pistons. I think they're a really good team. I love Cade Cunningham. I think this team is built to beat the Cavs specifically. Like, this team matches up so well with the Cavs top to bottom. It is crazy to watch. They always play them close, and at the end of the day, I'm going to take the Pistons for once over the Cavs. Now, I might not be able to go into downtown Cleveland anymore after making that pick, and I'll leave Tony Rizzo out of it so he doesn't, go off on me like he does Myles Garrett. But, you know what? Give me the Pistons on this one. Detroit, Cleveland. It'll be a fun matchup, and I'll probably go to a couple games because one's 2 hours away, one's 20 minutes away. So that'll be a fun matchup. But yeah, going to the finals, I have the Wolves because the Pistons aren't winning the finals. It's not the early 2000s. There's no Chauncey. There's no big game buildups here. This is a different team. The Wolves, I think, are built for this if they trade Rudy Gobert. And I'm going to keep saying that because that is my mantra this entire playoffs. I'm just like, trade Rudy Gobert and you'll be great. I said that for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years now. Since the pandemic, I don't even know how many years now. If the Wolves trade Rudy Gobert, they are a finals level team. And match up against the Pistons, I think this is a team that can do it. So, yeah. Thoughts?
Huh. So I don't know the exact numbers, but this might be the first time in a very, very long time not a 1 or a 2 seed makes the final. So I'd be all for it because that means upsets and chaos across the board, which would be great. The Pistons, if this happens, that Karis LeVert revenge game in the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm looking forward to that one game where he gives you 35 randomly, and it's like, oh, where'd this come from? And, of course, it'll be in Cleveland. Wolves are interesting because, like you mentioned, they weirdly match up well with the Nuggets with, ironically, Rudy Gobert, Naz Reid, and crew. So if they do get rid of Rudy Gobert, depends who they get back in return. But if it's somebody that can match up, at least annoy Jokic a little bit, then we'll see. Maybe they trade him for Karl Anthony Towns just to be ironic. I don't know at that point. But, like, weird.
Sengun from the Rockets, that'd be a fun trade.
Anything that would be something. Sengun throwing alley oops to Anthony Edwards, I'll be all for it if the Rockets will do it. But I'm very interested if this one were to play out because you see the 1 seeds getting knocked out, the Pacers getting knocked out before even the Eastern Conference Finals. This would be fun. I would like to see this. We get to see Anthony Edwards versus Cade Cunningham. It'd be the step into the next company, if that makes sense, like the next generation of guys. This would be quite the matchup. I'd definitely be for it. How many games does this one go if you get this matchup? How many games do you think it is?
I think this one, I said it went 6. I don't know. I'm not looking at my paper. I think I looked at it and it was 6 games is what I've had this matchup going, 6 or 7. I think this is a great matchup. I think this is a fun one to top to bottom where you have Caden. Look, we know Cade will go back bucket to bucket with anybody. We've seen him do it. We've seen him win most of those bucket to bucket matchups. Anthony does the same thing. I think those two. And the coaching, I think, is a big piece of this. I think between the Wolves and the Pistons, I think you have great coaches on both sides. So, yeah.
And that JB Bickerstaff revenge game against the Cavs too. Like it did that. Like that Cavs. I want that Eastern Conference Finals just for the revenge factor we get in there for sure. That's what I'm looking for. But let us know down below what you all think between the two. Oh, and Duncan Robinson on the Pistons too. So if he gets on fire and they can hide him on defense, look out, bombs away. But let us know down in the comments below whose bracket do you think is more right, who is more wrong, or are they just both terrible? And in that case, let us know who you have for yours. But we've now gone through the playoffs. It's now time to hand out the hardware, as is customary with all of our preseason predictions. I'll go ahead and go first. I'm just going to run through the whole list really quick. 6th man, we mentioned his name 1,000 times, Lonzo Ball. I think coming off the bench, he can average a double-double, like 10 and 10, give or take. Maybe not quite 10 and 10, but like 10 and 7, something like that. I think the ability to just come in for Darius Garland, play defense, like really play defense, which is something Garland struggles, being only 6'1", or comes in for Donovan Mitchell, who's like 6'3" at a 2 guard. Like he can be a combo guard, throw the alley-oops, dish to the corners, those awkward looking 3-pointers that sometimes go in because he can. And the fact that he's healthy, I'm excited to see him healthy too. So I really think he can provide a lot of different versatility for this team. Coach of the year, if I have the Magic being the number 1 seed, I think it's going to be Jamal Mosley. I think what he's going to be able to do with that Magic team, that's going to get them, for the record, of the East being that number 1 seed. I think it's going to be so weirdly competitive and convoluted because of injuries. It's going to be like a 56, 55 win first seed. I don't think we're going to have a 68 win first seed in the East. It's going to be in the 50s, but we're going to go with Mosley for getting them the number 1 seed. Rookie of the year, Cooper Flag. I'm not even going to go into details on that one. He's the favorite, and I'm going to stick with it. Defensive player of the year, Victor Wembanyama. He was a minus 5,000 favorite when he was diagnosed. Like he was already running away with it last year. I think that will continue this year. MVP, I was going to pick Wemby. I was going double dip just to be that guy, but I don't think they'll be willing to quite do that for him in his second full season. I think with the Spurs getting that spot, he'll be the catalyst, but I do think De'Aaron Fox is going to be awesome. Dylan Harper is going to be awesome. I did agree with a little bit of what you said about the Magic, which is why I think Paolo Banchero will be the MVP, because I think right now he's already really good. Averages like 26, 7, and 5 last year on 46%. Like his numbers are weirdly really good already. So I think even next year you could see him go up to 28 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, maybe 49, 50% shooting. I think the spacing Bane provides, even if Desmond Bane and his biceps aren't doing as much, I think just the threat of it means somebody can't peel off him quite as much. And then Paulo gets to a spot. He's really good, but because he's on a mediocre Magic team that hasn't been in the top 15 in offense since Dwight Howard was there, which for those counting, that's 13 years. That is literally Peyton Manning was still in a Colts uniform last time that happened. No, I guess he was in a uniform, but that was the year with the broken neck, but I digress. My point being, it's been a long time since they were even remotely above average offensively. And I think that Paulo's going to reap the benefits just enough because he's already so good with a bottom half offense around him. I think this next year he's going to have a chance to really break out. I was wrong about him coming out. I thought he should not have been the number 1 pick in that draft. I was wrong, and I own that one. He's my Luka to you, basically, where it's like, okay, you got me, man. To insert the Drewski meme. He's really, really good, and I think he's poised to break out. Even if, as you mentioned, maybe Desmond Bane doesn't do a lot. Maybe Franz Wagner doesn't do a lot. We do just enough to keep people from quadruple teaming Paulo. That's all I need. Just give me enough for Paulo to go cook.
That's fair. All right. I don't agree, but I don't disagree. Your logic I can live with.
Those numbers are staggering because it doesn't feel like his numbers are that good, but then when you see him, it's like, wow, he is actually that good. Like it just doesn't feel like it.
No, he is that good. As a Kings fan, I struggle with guys who are on bad to mediocre teams that put up numbers because yes, everybody is coming into your garden thinking about taking you out, but you still score. That's fantastic. Alternatively, you have like a 95% usage rate. So you get more opportunities than everybody else. And I know he doesn't because Cole Anthony was taking about 50% of them, but still, he had a high usage rate, and he continues to do that. And I struggle long term with him to be an MVP, but
he needs to stay healthy too. He was not healthy last year.
I also don't know. Like, there's also the weird case where I feel like in today's day and age, it's similar to like running backs winning the MVP in football. It almost feels like a quote unquote center can't win the MVP. I guess power forward center, whatever you want to call it, can't win the MVP in the NBA unless your name is Jokic or Embiid. So those are like where I fall into that weird category with Banchero, where I'm like, I like him a lot, but I don't know if I love him enough to give him MVP.
If they end up with the 1 seed, usually that's how the MVP breaks down. So that's my logic behind it. If he can give me 28, 8, and 5 on the number 1 seed, maybe they just do that because they don't want to give it to Jokic's outrageous advanced statistics like that, or they don't want to give it to Shea and his 13 fouls a game. Maybe this is just somebody else. And like I said, I could have very easily went Wembanyama. How I have it playing out, that's initially I had written in there, but I think they'd be reluctant to give him DPOY and MVP, but in his second full season. I know they did it with Giannis not that long ago, but I digress. We've gone over mine. It's time to hear your not Rick Carlisle for Coach of the Year list.
Yeah, not Rick Carlisle for Coach of the Year. So we'll start 6-man. I mentioned him a bunch. I think you mentioned him as well. When you talk Lakers, DeAndre Hunter. I think he's our 6-man, my 6-man of the year, easily.
Oh, DeAndre Ayton, I think. Hunter's the catch.
You're right. My bad. DeAndre Hunter for the. Yep. Nope. Moving. Sorry, DeAndre Hunter, not Ayton. It is DeAndre Hunter. So sorry. But yeah, give me 6 man of the year, DeAndre Hunter. I think he's proven that time and time again that he can be that guy that keeps that team going. So, coach of the year, Mark Dagnall. Thunder to me just continue to roll. So why not? Plus, it's the Thunder, like small market team. I don't know. Rookie of the year, I think it's no brainer. Cooper Flag.
Next.
Yeah. Defensive player of the year, I like everything you said about Wemby, but as I'm gonna said earlier, and I'm gonna state again, I don't know if he's ready to be that guy after the scary medical situation. Those are terrifying moments, and again, top 5 things to happen to a player, and then continue to not have a career afterwards. So it's terrifying to think of. So with that said, I'm going to Evan Mobley for my defensive player of the year. So just going with kind of the next man up, if you will. If it's not going to be Wemby, if it's not going to be Chet, it feels like it's going to be Evan Mobley. And then MVP, I just talked about him and why he's going to win the title. I think he's a fantastic player, and I'm going to just eat crow, I guess. For all the years I said he wasn't a top 15 player in the league. So here we go, Anthony Edwards. It's my MVP pick. I think he's going to put up 30 plus a game, which is like a crazy number in today's day and age. Even though we grew up with like 3 or more players finishing the season at 29 plus, I think we're at the point now where if he hits 29 or 30 a game, like, yeah, it feels like a very safe option. He's the MVP, especially carrying a 3 seed in the West. I think that's where I look at it and give him MVP nod. So yeah, give me Anthony Edwards for MVP.
Gosh, he gets MVP and Finals MVP and the championship all in the same year. Like, Condom brands are going to go out on sale. The condoms are going to go out of business. How much they're going to sell to him at this point? Hopefully, he's learned his lesson. They might not actually, but in theory, they should.
I don't know who's going to celebrate more, Atlanta or in Minnesota, because Minnesota, it's going to be winter I guess that time it's going to be middle of the summer in there, so not a lot to do inside the house in Minnesota, but in Atlanta, you'd rather be in the house during the middle of the summer. So you're just saying, one of those two is going to have a boom of babies named Anthony.
There's going to be a whole lot of kids that go to school in about 5 years that look at each other like, we look awfully similar, don't we? Like, there's going to be a lot of finger pointing. And so, anyway, won't dive too far in. Won't dive into that mess, but that's one hell of a year for Anthony Edwards for sure. Let us know down below who you all have for your NBA award-winning predictions for this upcoming season. But that's going to do it for our first part of our show for the tip-off where we did NBA breakdowns. We're now going to head into Kelcey's favorite part of every show, and that is, of course, crunch time. And for crunch time, we talked a lot of basketball today. We're going to talk a little bit of football, and we're going to focus in on not what has happened, what is going to happen, with a touch of what's happened, actually. We're going all in all. This one is Rashee Rice is set to return after a 6-game suspension this week, which when I look at this, it's like he's coming back, and we all kind of knew this. This is not really a surprise. Fantasy football owners who had him stashed are excited, blah, 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 blah. And it's one of those things, it served your time. You did everything before. But then we started seeing the tomfoolery pop up again. And I'm looking directly at this from Charles Omenihu. 4 is free. I'm sorry, he's free? Like he was suspended unjustly? Like he should have been free this whole time? Or what are we saying here? Like he literally pled guilty and said, I will take whatever suspension you offer. Like he blatantly said, my bad. He went 120 miles an hour on the highway, caused 6 vehicles to crash. 1 person was seriously injured. And I quote, let me make sure I get this right. Let's see. With sustained injuries to her neck, back, and head that stranded her. Sorry, that was a different one. That was a different one where a 4-year-old son and his mom got stuck on the highway for 5 hours after the crash. The next one, seriously bodily injured to her face, head, torso, and leg, that she had post-concussion symptoms, headaches, extreme light and sound sensitivity. She will be dealing with, and this is the quote, a life of limited mobility and sight for an undetermined extended period of time while she seeks treatment. This was not like he was suspended for Deflategate. It's not like he told a ref F you and got suspended for it. It's not like he Brian Branched or he Cam Scatterwood where he yelled first down and got suspended. And now you're saying 4 is free? And before I get told I'm taking it out of context or anything like that, that is not the case because this is a repeat of what happened previously. And you know what? Let me go ahead and share this. I pressed the wrong button there, but we're going to go ahead and share what I was talking about here. And in week 2, this was against the Eagles game. This is a month ago, wearing several shirts that say free 4. Travis, Tyquan Thornton, several others wearing free 4. The man is lucky that Are we kidding me? Free four? You say this like he was unjustly suspended for 6 games. The question was never should he be suspended? It was how long? Should it be 6 games? Should it be more? Should it be less? Travis is the most famous football player in the world right now. Probably the most famous athlete, arguably. You can't be wearing a free four shirt. I know this was a month ago, but it's coming back because, like I mentioned with that tweet, we just took a look at a second ago. It's coming right back again after just a couple of days ago. That this is absolutely asinine. What kind of simulation timeline are we in? To Rashee Rice's credit, because I don't want to sound like he has not said any of this. He basically said, I made a mistake. I will own whatever it comes to. Like, took all of it in stride to the best that he could, to not trying to pile on him. I'm piling on everyone around it. And you can't say, oh, we're doing it to support our guy. You're saying free four as if he's unjustly being punished right now. You don't say free four if they're doing something that they openly pled guilty to. This is absolutely asinine. It's ridiculous. And the explanation that came from Andy Reid of they're just trying to support their guys. Then no, you guys stunk early in the season. That's why you wanted Rashee back. And you're saying free four, which is absolutely blasphemous. Do you realize how close it was to him having a Henry Ruggs moment where people could have died? That was a 6-car pileup while he was going 120 miles an hour while racing another car who was going, I think it was 115. I don't understand how we can really do this free four stuff and not really have anyone truly answer for it. The 2 third-degree felony charges. He is 5 years of probation, 30 days of jail time. Pled guilty to all of it. This isn't, how do I want to word this? It's not like he was unjustly accused of something and then proved innocent, or however you want to word that, where he needs to be freed or he's being suspended for the thought of doing something. He literally did it. There's visual evidence. He said, I did it. My bad. I'm sorry. I screwed up. How can we really have these free? How can we really say he is free? Like, what are we doing here? Like, this is absolutely blasphemous. And before you say I'm overreacting, this was a month ago. This was in week 2 of a 6-week suspension. Not this right here where it's like, oh, he's finally free from the suspension. No, that's not what's going on. This has been going on since September of 14th is when this was posted to. This is not showing support. Like, this is absolutely ASA 9, ASA 10, ASA 15. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. There's a billion reasons why people hate the Chiefs. This is probably one of them. And this is probably the most deserved because how disrespectful to the people that were injured in that crash too. Like, imagine the person who was having trouble seeing and walking while they were seeking treatment, or the family, the kid that nearly lost his mom because of a 6-car car crash. This is free for. This is absolutely blasphemous. This is disappointing on all sorts of levels. And I know it shouldn't be looked into that badly, but look, when you're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, that is the primetime team in the NFL. Wearing stuff like free for over someone who is literally a convicted felon right now because he pled guilty to 2 third-degree felony charges. Free four. He didn't do anything. What are we doing? Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is not showing support. This is just absolutely insane. I'll let you talk because I've rambled enough and I'm starting to repeat myself, but this is absolutely embarrassing. I'm once again, to Rashee's credit, none of this has to do with him. He has not said a single word about this. He has taken full responsibility. There's only so much you can do in this position as a 25-year-old. He's handled everything properly. But this is, from the rest of the team, this is just embarrassing.
Yeah, I'm going to show that so we can have all right, we need to talk about the Chiefs for a second and what it means to be like socially aware as an athlete, because I think those things matter. Players coming out and talking about how good of a player Kyron Lacey was. That's different because of the way that all occurred, and RIP. Rashee Rice shouldn't be treated like he's a guy who was done wrong too. He did wrong, admitted to doing wrong, and yes, 5 years of probation for 2 felony charges? That's crazy. First of all, like, because he's an athlete, he gets to spend 30 days in jail at any point in time in the 5 years of probation. Wild.
Third-degree felonies too, like that. At that.
Yeah. Like, it's okay. Not as bad as attempted murder, but yeah, it's a felony. Not a misdemeanor, nothing like that. But it's a felony. Like, you guys, it's crazy. If that's a normal person, we're behind bars for 3.5 years. Good luck seeing us or seeing anything. To treat, like, okay, from a standpoint of in a locker room, you want to be with your guy. Because your guy admitted he was wrong, he took the slap on the hand. Great for him. Don't, especially Travis, don't. You know eyes are on you. Over 1 billion people check out Travis Kelce's Instagram nowadays. A day. Because of who he is. If it was Tyquan Thornton, okay, he's your receiver, he's your bro. You know what? One player. Limited incident. But it's Travis Kelce that's the one that bothers me. As your team captain, you're a face of the NFL, you're a face of what is pop culture today, whether you deserve it or not is a different conversation. Yes, you're one of the all-time greatest tight ends, but you're getting stardom for something else right now. Don't draw unnecessary attention to yourselves as an athlete. That's rule number 1. And by not being conscious of what is happening around you is the number 1 way to get shut down and canceled and eliminated, and you lose everything you got positive going for you in your life. So any young athletes that hear this and talk about it, I'm not bashing Travis Kelce for his talent. Not bashing Tyquan Thornton for their talent. Bashing them because they have no conscious thought over being socially aware into what is happening today. And this is not a situation like shut up and dribble type of thing. This is a situation like your teammate did wrong and he is serving time for something he did. I'm not saying this is a situation, this is, your teammate did not do something and get accused of something. It's crazy to me that, like, this isn't an accusal. He committed felonies. There are people's lives, there are children's lives that are now affected by what has happened. And I think there's a lot of people that just like, oh, it's just the Chiefs being the Chiefs. No, any athlete. I would say the same thing about any athlete. It could be Tom Brady out there that's walking around in that shirt. Say the same thing because it's the same reasons.
Pouncies when they wore the free Hernandez hats.
Like 53rd man on the Raiders. I don't care who it is. Anybody shouldn't be wearing something for somebody who is guilty, saying that they need to be freed. No, I'm sorry. They're guilty. They did it. He even admitted it. And look, all credit to, like you said, all credit to Rashee. I need to say that because I don't think I've said that yet. All credit to Rashee for how he's handled post-incident and the PR around that. He shut up. He's worked on his craft in silence. He's admitted to guilt. He's made all the right moves PR-wise, but his teammates are not helping him. This is not support. This is, we want more PR around the Chiefs. So let's do this. No, let's not. You already get enough blown calls in the middle of a game. Let's not try to do this as well. There's enough things to hate the Chiefs. Their fans kind of are dicks. This is another thing to add. Like, you gotta be socially conscious. And this is one of those, like, and I'm not for a lot of social things. Like, but when it comes to he did wrong by the law, don't try to play it off like he's innocent. Like, this is a joke. The fact it's, 4 games for 2 felony charges?
6 games, but yeah, still.
6 games for 2 felony charges? I'm sorry. And the NFL, you need to do more too. Like, look, you can't just let athletes that you're supposed to be representing as, you choose to represent them as role models. You're not taking the Charles Barkley route where we are not role models. The NFL chooses to represent these people as athletes. They need to, or as role models, they need to treat them and make sure they uphold the standard of what a role model should be. And I think that's a big thing too.
I will add to, like we mentioned, those the felonies. After the incident, he was facing 1 count of aggravated assault, 1 count of collision involving serious bodily injury, and 6 counts of collision involving injury, according to police reports. He was released on bond later, and he took full responsibility for his actions. So, Once again, going to add on, we are not trying to pile on we all know this stuff. Like, this is all well documented. It's been around since I think April when it happened, if I'm not mistaken. Like, this is nothing new. The thing that's irritating is the free for, as if he was done wrong, or if he was being unjustly suspended. Like, they're lucky it was only 6 games, if we're being honest. When you look at all that stuff that's involved, you could have made a case for like 10 to 12 games, realistically.
You could have made the case for a season. You could have made the case for an indefinite suspension a la freaking Josh Gordon. Here's the crazy thing. Josh Gordon.
That free Gordons, that's different. Like,
Josh Gordon is banned from the league for smoking pot.
Relentlessly.
Multiple times. But Rashee Rice got a 6-game suspension for 2 felony charges.
Dangerous acts that could have literally killed people. Like Henry Ruggs did the same thing and he's in prison. Well, not the same thing, but you get the point.
Well,
like the same
let's
idea of
not even
going
get
way too
started on
damn
Henry
fast.
Ruggs potentially coming back to the NFL,
Which
is a
rant
whole
about
nother
that.
situation that
He's gonna end
blows
up on
my
the
mind
cheap.
that people are
He's
like
gonna end up on the
actually
cheap
strongly
too.
considering, like, should we? Let's pause on that right now. let's not even have that conversation. Let's provide the respect where respect is due to the people that were damaged by these accidents. Because right now, Travis, Taekwon, I know it's been a month. Screw that. I don't care. You did it a month ago. You did it 6 months ago. You are a public figure. What you do is in the spotlight, and especially for Travis, you can't do that and not expect some ramifications from it. And unfortunately, right now, he's feels immune to a lot of ramifications. So I'll leave that alone, though.
And if they'd have just done it then, it'd have been one thing. Like, okay, bad taste. They didn't think it through. Then the fact that this week, the tweet I showed a few minutes ago, Charles and Menu saying 4 is free. Like, what are we doing? You're tripling down on it. And it wasn't just those two. There were others. Those are just the pictures that I had that I was able to pop up at the time. There was, it's absolutely
40-something players wore it.
And those shirts were being sold too. That's absolutely insane. That's so disrespectful to the people that nearly died in that.
You're making money off of a man. Not like I don't even want to count the jersey sales that he's also going to be raking in money for, which, if we're being honest, part of his penalty should have been forfeiting any funds earned for the next 2 years or however long it takes these people to recover. But again, anyways,
but remember, according to Patrick, they don't do the extracurriculars. They focus on inside the lines. And I know that's not what he meant. I'm being a smart ass because of because of the irony behind it is. This is just absolute egregious. Maybe I'm overreacting. But you can't wear free for especially when he admits guilt. It's clear as day. Like, it's clear as mud. This isn't a false accusation. This isn't a confusion. This isn't an unjust situation. He got a good end of the deal. He was prepared to accept basically anything. And I think because Rashee handled it like such a, I don't want to say a class act considering the situation, but you get the point. Handle it as well as you could have in this situation you put yourself in. I think that's why I got 6 games. If he was doing the route, some other routes, we'll say, it could have easily been 10, 12, etc. But I think good luck to Rashee, good luck to everyone else, but this free 4 stuff is absolutely blasphemous. They have to deal with the morality of that. And I'm not one to preach off a high horse. I'm my own piece of shit. I don't need to worry about that. Like that, but like there's a line to draw there. I'll digress. We've rambled on about it enough. Let us know down below what you all think about this situation. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show here. I think we've sped our way through this, pun intended and forced. But we appreciate y'all so much for joining us, and we'll see you all again next time.